Hi guys, and welcome back to my travel corner, and today you've joined me in Chichester for another Finding the Boundary Stops. Now I'm just about to miss this 700 going into Littlehampton, but then that's because I wanted to obviously introduce the video before I do anything else. But the next one is in 15 to so minutes time, although I've seen a Yapton bus for 9 minutes, so I'll grab that one first. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to start off with the coastline of bus stops, because we're going to look at all the boundary stops in the Chichester Ticket Zone, but I'm going to start with the coastline of bus stops because they're mostly backed up by buses that are only running 1 an hour, so the quicker I get them out of the way, the better. After seeing a 500 go, well, seeing a 55 go past, you'll see me on that later on in the video, and 51's due as well. It's rather interesting, the bus network here in the Chichester area. I mean, in particular, you've got buses that are fairly frequent, but then you've got a couple also that are only running 1 an hour. The 56, on the other hand, is every 90 minutes. So the sooner I get that boundary stop out of the way, the quicker I can forget about having to worry about the 56. But the chances are, you may see me board that depending on what time of the day I get in to that stop. But join me back in a bit because my bus is due in about 8 minutes time, and I'm going to stop by and see if I can grab a drink quickly of water, and I'll see you at the back of the 700, and we'll be making our way towards the first of the boundary stops in the Chichester Ticket Zone. See you in a bit, guys. Welcome back, guys. You've just joined me at the back of the 700 as I'm
The next stop is South Street.
making my way now to the first of the boundary stops in the Chichester Ticket Zone. Now, the one thing that I would have noted at this point is this is the first of the buses that I've got on that's been to Yapton, because when I first got these buses, they used to run as one route between Southsea and Brighton, and they used to call it Yapton as well. But now I find that the only buses that go to Yapton are the ones that terminate there, because then they'll just go round and then back down. And it's really rather interesting, but I find it's rather sad at the same time. Oh, do I miss it when the bus was just one whole route.
The next stop is Market Avenue.
But it's only a quick clip this time because we're not too far away from the first of the boundary stops, and I think we're going to start 5 away after this one, no, 4 away after this one, but we'll just have a look at that as well. But yeah, it's not too far away. But join me back in a bit and I'll see you at the first of 9 boundary stops in Chichester Ticket Zone. See you in a bit, guys. Welcome back, guys. You've just joined me at the first of the boundary stops in the Chichester Ticket Zone. So this is the Peacheries, and we're just going to cross over in a bit because I can then get the 700 back to the bus station, or any type of bus that goes back to the bus station. And if I don't get this one, I'll get a 707 because that one's due shortly afterwards. So I think I might in this case just get, but if I get the 707, it's going to require a walk, so I'll be better off getting the 700. I'll just see which bus comes first, which bus comes along first. But there's one thing I do want to look at while I walk from this stop of the Peacheries, That looks like I'm going to be getting the 707. Never mind. I just want to see what this looks like. The peacheries. Oh, it's boarded up by the looks of things. Choo! I knew that was coming as well. Held on to it for as long as I could. But this is a rather interesting bus stop, even if it does park on the last stop inside the Chichester area. But join me back in a bit and I will see you on the next bus that comes along, which will most likely now be the 707. See you in a bit, guys. Welcome back, guys. Just joined me at the back of the 700. Just making our way back to the bus station.
The next stop is the Hall.
Thank you, Amy. She always does this. You have to complete the sentences for me. But what we're going to do then is we'll hop into another 700, making our way back into, that goes back towards Portsmouth, and there's a couple of boundary stops I want to show you there as well. There's 9 of them in total. I've only just started scratching the surface. But the sooner we get those done, the better. Now, you thought the last journey was quick for a boundary stop. I think this one's going to be just as quick. So, join me back in a bit and I'll then see what happens as I move into the next of the boundary stops of the Chichester Ticket Zone. See you in a bit, guys. Welcome back, guys, and you've just joined me at Chichester bus station as I wait for the connecting 700 to take me to the next pair of boundary stops that are in that direction, because it's going towards Portsmouth, and that would have been one of the buses that would have been the very bus that I'd have picked up on the way here. I will say as well, thank you to, as a special shout out, that's what I meant, to a friend of mine who I used to see, because I used to come here to Chichester College, and I just bumped into one of my old librarians. He was there around the time I was studying. I've just seen a 500 as well, so I think I might be tempted to switch into that. But the sooner I get the coastliner bus, let me get this right. The sooner I get the coastliner boundary stops out of the way, the better. And there's another 2 of them to cover, and then we can start thinking about doing other bits as well. Or if I save them 2 until the end, I could then cover the last one on the way back home. But then I'm also thinking of that, I've also got 54 to do as well, which is the boundary stop leading up to Petersfield. So I've got to cover that as well. So I am going to stick to my original plan in this case and do the coastliner boundary stops first. I've covered one already, and as I mentioned earlier, there's still another 2 left to go. But join me back in a bit and I will see you at the back of the next 700 as I make my way to the next one. See you in a bit, guys. Welcome back, guys. You've just joined me at the back of another 700, and this time we're going the other way. And I was just thinking about stuff, as I do, particularly when I'm researching into these videos. But the one thing that came to my mind was that it just comes to show how small a ticket zone can actually be. So, as I mentioned earlier, the area of Chichester has got 9 boundary stops, and I'm just about to go to number 2. And another thing that came to mind is it just comes because going back to how small a ticket zone can be. The very first, the second one of these I've done was I was looking at the boundary stops in the Havant ticket zone, and there's 8 of them there. This one's got 9, so it just comes to my mind just either how small a ticket zone can actually be, or how well known a city is, because Chichester is the only city in the whole of West Sussex, and it's an interesting one. But also it comes to show, because it will go to how popular a city is, because Portsmouth has got the ticket zone of Portsmouth has got 7 boundary stops, all dotted around the edges, mind you, between Portsgrove and to one side and Farlington on the other. But that's got 7 as well, and that's quite a big zone. It covers the whole of the Isle of Portsea. But so it covers the whole Portsea Islands. But I'm going to call a quick break because we're not too far from the next of the boundary stops. And I will see you very soon after this. See you in a bit, guys. Welcome back, guys, and you've just joined me at boundary stop number 2, which is Hillier Garden Centre, which is rather interesting. So in a bit I'm going to have to try and cross back over to see where the connecting bus stop is, because I suspect it's a bit further on down. But other than that, you've got other stops we need to look at as well. This is going to be rather interesting as I try and work out where to go from there, where to go from here even. So I'm just going to cross over right in the middle of nowhere. But join me back in a bit as I'm on the back of another 700 and I'll make my way back into Chichester and stopping off at the next of the boundary stops. See you in a bit, guys. Welcome back, guys. You've just joined me at the back of another 700 and I'm just making my way now to the next of the boundary stops in the Chichester Ticket Zone. Now, what I'm thinking of in this case, by doing this, is that it's one of those unique ones because it only serves as a boundary stop for 1 bus a day. But it's important for me to mention that one because after that it then goes straight into Portsmouth, which is why it then becomes critical. And I'm going to be getting there fairly soon, but I was just making my way back to this bus stop. I ended up missing the bus. One just pulled out from one had just pulled out, and I was literally only a few steps away. So I just missed it by an inch. But I'm on one now, and we can continue on with the boundary hunt. The hunt for the boundary stops, rather, in the Chichester Ticket Zone. So say join me back in a bit, and when we're coming up very soon. See you in a bit, guys. Welcome back, guys, and you've just joined me outside the Westgate Leisure Centre, which is the Chichester Ticket Zone boundary stop for actually the 725, because the next stop after that is all the way in Portsmouth. Now, what I'm going to do in this case is, rather than hang around like a wet lemon for the next 25 minutes, is I'm going to cut through the college and then go back into the bus station that way. And then at the same time I can then pick up a drink. And then also at the same time try and work out where to go from there. So come with me and I'll take you through this direction, because this will be one of the ways of getting me back to the bus station as opposed to waiting there for 25 minutes. So it's not what I want to do. It's nice and shady down here as well. So not only does this bit take you to the skateboard park, it also takes you into Chichester College. And rather than going through, although I might get my drink from the reception or I might just get it from the pub, if I get it from the pub, it will then allow me to work out where to go from there. So I've got 6 more boundary stops left to go, and one of them leads up to Midhurst, and there's another few that lead towards the Witterings and Selsey. So those will go looking, and another one on the way up to Petersfield. I specifically want to leave the 54 for last, and that'll be because I can then just carry on up to Petersfield. I don't like the idea of waiting at a bus stop for 3 hours and doing nothing, so that one I'll just carry on up to Petersfield. So if I then I might in that case then save the 54 for last. But join me back in a bit, and I will see you on the back of the next bus. See you in a bit, guys. Welcome back, guys. We've just joined us at the back of the 52, and we're just making our way to the next boundary stop of the Chichester Ticket Zone. Now, this bus continues on into the Witterings, and I'm not too sure where the boundary stop comes up, but the announcers will say it. Luckily there are bus announcements on these buses, because otherwise I would have been stuck. It wouldn't have been good if you're on the Chichester Day ticket. But here we go. I think there's some other buses that have been diverted, but that's another matter altogether. So just making our way down. So I know I need to go to Marpont Farm, but where that is on the line I won't know yet. But join me back in a bit, and I will see you at the next of the boundary stops, which I've just mentioned, this Marpont Farm. See you in a bit, guys. And welcome back, guys. You've just joined me now at Marpont Farm, which is the Chichester Ticket Zone boundary stop for the 52s and the 53s going to the Wittery. So I'm just waiting for these cars to go so I can then cross. And I'm having a look at some particular ideas as to what to do next. So I will make a day trip out of the Witterings in the near future, but for now I'm just focusing on finding the boundary stops in the Chichester Ticket Zone. And I'm also trying to find a safe time to cross as well, which isn't coming anytime soon. Just trying to be careful. Yeah, this is a really busy road. Just counting down the number of cars that are on the side of the road. Go! Ah, that was close. So we are looking at there every 15 minutes, and I've literally got one in a minute. So join me back in a bit, and I'll see you at the back of the next bus. See you in a bit, guys. Welcome back, guys, and you've just joined me at the back of another 52. Now, this bus is actually late, so what I do need to mention as well is because there aren't that many boundary stops in the Chichester Ticket Zone, I'm going to have to put a couple of factors into it. So one of the main factors of this would then be if it would then play on the role of how much can I fit in one day. So whether or not it will spill into tomorrow will depend on what I can get done today, and also it will depend on how behaved the buses are. And unfortunately today, and true garage corner style, the buses aren't that behaved at all. So this one was late, there was another one that was late as well. Can't really blame the drivers though, and I don't. Not in the slightest. It's out of control. It just depends on different factors of what's been happening through the day. But we're just making our way. We're making our way back towards Chichester, and we're going to see you back at the bus station for the next of the buses to which I'm going to be boarding at. We've got 5 more boundary stops left to go now, and I'll see you at the bus station where I get prepared for the next one. See you in a bit, guys. Welcome back, guys, and I'm back at Chichester bus station, and it's rather interesting. The 52's got diverted because we've got roadworks at Canal Wharf, which it would have turned along, but never mind. And I've just passed some rubbish bins. Oh, they do smell awful. But other than that, that's 4 boundary stops down and another 5 to go. So I'm just trying to figure out where to go next. So I might do Mundham. I'll do Mundham Corner next. Oh, that's perfectly timed. I'll just see a 51. Drop me back in a bit and I'll see you at the back of that bus. Welcome back, guys. You've just joined me at the back of 51, and we're just making our way to the next of the boundary stops in the Chichester Ticket Zone. Tell you what, we are 30 degrees Celsius at the moment, and I'm rather taken aback as to how hot it's got. I can manage it just about. I'm just about managing it at the moment. We'll soon have to find out. Just seen the 56, which I don't need to worry about that because I've already looked at that boundary stop, which was Hillier Garden Centre. So we looked at that. So good job I don't have to worry about the 56. They're every 90 minutes to Old Bosom. But enough about that. We're just making our way towards Southsea, just as we're getting off at the next of the boundary stops in this ticket zone. And I absolutely love it here in Chichester.
Next stop is Westgate.
Okay, so we're going through, we're going to go round to Westgate and then to the cathedral. That's interesting. Yeah, of course, because then it goes round and then goes up that way. It just shows how long it's been since I've last been on a 51. It's been ages since I've last been on a 51, and I'm glad to be back on one again. Join me back in a bit, and I will see you at the next of the boundary stops in the Chichester Ticket Zone. See you in a bit, guys. Welcome back, guys. You've just joined me now at Mundham Corner, which is the Chichester Ticket Zone boundary stop for the 51s and the 600s. Now, I've got here on the 51. I'm going to end up going back on the 600. But listen to this, and you'll see what goes on.
Service 600 to Chichester departs in 12 minutes. Service 600 to Chichester departs in 12 minutes. Service 51 to Chichester departs in 26 minutes.
Thank you, Rachel. A cappella Rachel. Apparently she was the absolute worst when it came to train announcements. Well, I'm willing to back that up because she did them for TFW at one point when they were Arriva Trains Wales, and she didn't even give the announcements in Welsh. But here I am in London Corner waiting 12 minutes for a bus, and they're showing two at the same time. So I guess the buses must be late. Well, join me back in a bit and I'll be at the back of the 600 as I make my way back into Chichester. See you in a bit, guys. Welcome back, guys. You've joined me at the front of the 600 and I'm just making my way back to Chichester. It's just so helpful that these buses are fairly frequent. I say fairly frequent, there's 2 an hour, but they go down the same route as the 51, so at least then you've got some sort of a backup. If you miss a bus, you've got another one at least. And that's not too bad. So we're just making our way back into Chichester. I literally got a 700 into Chichester, and now I'm getting a 600 back to the same place. So much of it rings true to my channel anthem, and I would never have thought I'd bring that up in a video, but there we are. So we're just making our way back to Chichester now, as I mentioned earlier, and those care homes, I saw them getting built. I saw every progress that's been made to that, and it looks really nice. It looks like a nice building. Lakeview Grange, they've called it. Anyway, join me back in a bit because it's not too far away now from the bus station, and I will keep you updated on which bus I'll end up taking next. See you in a bit, guys. Welcome back, guys. You've just joined us at the back of the 500, so it's literally just off one bus and straight onto another, and we're going to be looking at the next boundary stop in the Chichester Ticket Zone. Now, I'm just wondering actually, it's been a while since I've been on the 500.
The next stop is St Richard's Hospital.
It calls it the hospital entrance, which is good to know. And I think I'm coming round here, I'll be coming round here later on the 54 and the 60 for that matter. So that'd be good to know. But the remaining buses are every half an hour, so I need to get a 60 and a 55 after this. And then after I've done that, I can then, if I can do them in numerical order backwards, I can then hopefully do the 60, the 55, and then ultimately change into the 54. But I need to make sure that if I'm going to do it all in one day, I need to make sure I'm back at the bus station by 4 o'clock, preferably 3:30. So then I can then go into that and then change into the other 2 buses. I'm hoping that the boundary stops aren't too far away, but knowing how small the ticket zone is, I don't think I'll have too much to worry about. But we're nearly 10 to 2 now, so I am actually pushing for time. But join me back in a bit and I will see you at the next boundary stop. This will be number 6 of 9. See you in a bit, guys. Welcome back, guys, and you've just joined me at Drayton Lane, which is the Chichester Ticket Zone boundary stop for the 500. Now, I don't know about you, but this has literally got to be the worst bus stop I've ever got off at in the whole history of this series. I'm just trying to think, how am I going to get across to that one down there? It's beyond me. I've done it though. But yeah, that has literally got to be the worst bus stop I've ever got off at in the whole history of making this series. I mean, fuck me, that was a tight squeeze. Wow. So I'm just going back towards the next bus stop. and hopefully I won't have to wait too much longer for a 500 back into Chichester. So they're every half an hour. We're coming up to 2 o'clock, and the next one is actually in 10 minutes. Perfectly timed. I couldn't have timed that any better, even if I tried. So the next one's in 10 minutes. So join me back in a bit, and I will see you at the back of the 500 as I make my way back into Chichester. See you in a bit, guys. Welcome back, guys. You've just joined me at the back of another 500, and we're just slowly making our way back into Chichester bus station. Now, I don't know whether or not this will call at the cathedral when it does, but not on this leg of the journey. It will terminate the bus station first, and then we go to the cathedral. So in that case, then I'll come off at the bus station, get off the 500, the bus station, and then make my way over to, I'm going to be, got left then either the 60, so I've got left then the 60 and the 55, so do them first, and then hopefully I'll have enough time to get the 54, and then I'll see what time I've got left over. So I think to myself, so long as I get to the bus station by sort of 3:30, which I am on time at the moment for that. 2 more buses left to cover, as I say, that's down 60 and the 55, and then I'll be able to then sort that out. But join me back in a bit, and I'll make my way back to the bus station, and then I'll be able to update you on what's going to happen next. See you in a bit, guys. Welcome back, guys, and you've just joined me at the back of the 55, and we're just going to make our way up to the next of the boundary stops in the Chichester Ticket Zone, and I don't think it's too far from here. I always say that because of how small this ticket zone is here in Chichester, which for a city I also find is rather ironic, but there we are. You never know, I guess. But other than that, it's been a rather interesting finding of the boundary stops so far, and I'm just about to go up to number 7. I'll tell you what, though, it's been boiling. It's 30 degrees at the moment where I am. Of course, so we're going to call it Chichester bus station on the way in. But wait, does it call it Chichester both? Does it call it the bus station both times? I'm pretty sure that it did on the way in, but I don't think then it goes up that way. But yeah, I am wrong, it does go up that way. I've seen it on the signs. Ignore me, I don't know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I'm such an idiot. So we're tangled up with roadworks at the moment, and we're expecting delays, and it's been about a month already, and we shall see what goes on. I've still got another bus left to go after this one, but again, we can only wait and see. But join me back in a bit, and I'll be at the next of the boundary stops, so long as I don't keep losing my hair. See you in a bit, guys. Welcome back, guys, and you've just joined me at Rolls-Royce, which is the Chichester Ticket Zone boundary stop for the 55s going to Tangmere. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to cross over and wait over the other side, which I think Rolls-Royce will be just over there. And it'll be an amazing discovery, I just thought. So this bit is Rolls-Royce. This is interesting. It's interesting that where this journey's taken me so far. And I have to go out of the Chichester Ticket Zone in order to go back into it. But let's see when the next 55 is coming back, because I'm umming and ahhing at the moment as to whether I'm going to make it back in time for the last 54, and the chances are that it's highly unlikely. So what I'm going to do at this point is I'm just going to save the other two for tomorrow. Yeah, it was as I suspected. I've got 20 minutes to wait. So I'm definitely not going to make it in time for the last 54 of the day. So what I'm going to do then in this case is go back to Chichester, and then I'll wrap up this part, and then I'll just have to split it into 2 days. Because I've still got 2 more boundary stops left to find, and one of them's on that all-reclusive 54. Which the 54s are running 5 a day, and the last one's at 4 o'clock, but it's nearly 2:45 now. So yeah, it's all it's not good. So yeah, I'd have to do the rest tomorrow. Do the other 2 tomorrow. So that'll be the 60 to Midhurst and the 54 to Petersfield. But join me back in a bit, and I'll be at the back of 55 as I make my way back into Chichester, which is not due for another 20 minutes. See you in a bit, guys. Welcome back, guys. You just joined me at the back of the middle of the 55, making my way back into Chichester, and I'm in a bit of a panic at the moment because I'm trying to work out my way around the 54 bus. Now, I did a bit of research while I was sorting out the bits that I usually do that puts this video together. So I give you information about what the boundary stops are, and I'm going to do that in ticker form after you see the boundary stop number. I'll do it in ticker form this time. That's not the issue. The main issue is I've got to try and work my way around the 54 bus, and I'm thinking, because I did a bit of research, and the next 54s at 4 o'clock, that'll take me to the boundary stop at about 10 past 4, and there is a bus on the way back, but I'll be waiting 2 hours for it, and I don't know my way from that part of Chichester, so I'm going to try and ring someone for help and see if they can give me a lift from.
The next stop is Chichester Park Hotel.
See if they can give me a lift to pick me up from Butterfly Corner, and then we make our way down to back to the cathedral that way, and then that way I can then connect into a 60. But if I do it the other way round, I'm not going to make it back in time for the 54. The only other thing that I can think of at this point is if I then split it across 2 days. We'd have to wait and see. So I'll call my friend back in about half an hour and see what he has to say, because I've called him at an inconvenient time. But join me back in a bit, and I will keep you updated on everything. And once I know for sure if I can do these 2 remaining boundary stops today, chances are I might have to do them tomorrow, and if that's the case, it's not actually too much of a problem, but it doesn't stop the autistic panic from setting in. See you in a bit, guys. Welcome back. You've just joined me back outside Chichester Cathedral, and yeah, what I am going to do in this case is I'm going to break this video into 2 days. So I've done 7 today, which isn't too bad, 7 out of 9, and then I'll do the other 2 tomorrow. So I've got the 60 left to do, and then the 54 after that. The thing is, we are at the moment 20 past 3. The next bus isn't for another 15 minutes, so I'm going to get 700 back into Havant. And then, when I've done that, while I'm doing that, I can then just get myself and the video prepped, and I'll be able to edit in any information that I might need to when I get back home. So join me tomorrow, and I'll be back here looking for the 2 remaining boundary stops for both the 60 and the 54. It's going to be bright and early, so don't miss out, and I will see you tomorrow. Welcome back, and we are now on day 2 of me finding the boundary stops in the Chichester Ticket Zone. So you've joined me back outside of Chichester Cathedral, and we're now waiting for a 60 that's going to Midhurst. And then after that, we're just left with the 54. So it always comes back down to that. And another thing I wanted to look at, because there is a particular 54 in a day that goes via Westbourne and also calls at Emsworth, I then thought to myself, you know what, normally I would think about getting a 54, hop off at the roundabout in Emsworth, and then cross over and then get 27 back to Havant. Well, today is Saturday, watch and smile, talking about Tiswas, but Tiswas aside, today is Saturday, and the buses, the 27s in particular, don't run on a Saturday, don't run at all on the weekends. But even when they do run on a weekday, they're every 2 hours, which isn't too bad if you're going towards Emsworth way. You'd then be able to, if you come off at Emsworth, you don't have to worry, don't have to wait for too long, because it just come back round, and it's only a few stops it's only a few stops away from terminating, so it wouldn't be too bad of a wait. But other than that, there isn't much else to go by when it comes to that bus. But anyway, join me back in a bit, and I will see you at the back of the 60 as I make my way to the next of the boundary stops in the Chichester Ticket Zone. See you in a bit, guys.
The next stop is Orchard Street.
Welcome back, guys. You've just joined me at the back of the 60 as we're making our way to the next of the boundary stops in the Chichester Ticket Zone. And with that, we can safely say that we're getting ready to wrap this up in style. I'm just looking at the poster, because at the moment the 700s and the 707s are on diversion, and if you're looking at the boundary stops of Bognor Regis, one of them's on the bit that's affected. So I'm trying to work out whether or not I could do the next video of finding the boundary stops, which in this case it would be Bognor Regis and Littlehampton, because obviously I need to do them before I can even think about doing Worthing and Brighton. But I'm having problems with the internet apparently. Never mind. But other than that,
The next stop is the Berry.
I wasn't going to say that, but thank you, Amy. But other than that, we're going to be just continuing on with finding the boundary stops in the Chichester Ticket Zone, and I can deal with that Welcome back, guys. You've just joined me back at the drive, which is now the Chichester Ticket Zone boundary stop for the 60s going up to Midhurst. I'm going to go down this way just so that I can remain inside the boundaries of Chichester, and I'm going to hopefully be able to cross over and then get the next bus back to the cathedral. And with that, go. Just be quick because this car's coming. There we go, I found that this one will take you back to Chichester. But look at this, I mean, that map is amazing. So that's where I am at the moment. It didn't take too long for me to come out of the area, and then we go up, and then we then end up in Midhurst. I love that. And the next bus is in 14 minutes time, and then I can go back and then connect into the last one, which is the 54. Well, I'll definitely be able to make it for the 20 to 12. And there we go. Well, join me back in a bit and I will see you at the back of the other 60 making my way back into Chichester. See you in a bit, guys. Welcome back, guys. You've just joined me at the back of the 60 making my way back into Chichester. And good news, I can now make it in time for the 20 to 12. And I'm then faced with another choice at this point. I can either come off a butterfly corner, which is the last one. This is the one I've been trying to do, I did the most research on. I can either come off a butterfly corner and wait 49 minutes for
60 to Chichester.
No, for a 54 back into Chichester, and so that, or I can stay on the same 54 and continue on into Petersfield and then show you the bus stop rather than get off at it.
The next stop is the border.
This is what happens though when the announcements always interrupt you, because you're trying to work out what's going on and what you're doing, and they come along and evade your train of thought. Always happens. But we're just making our way back into Chichester now, and I'll see you when I get back at the cathedral. Welcome back, guys, and you've just joined me back at the cathedral, and we can now wait for a 54, which is finally happening. It's been a couple of days that it took me to put this together, and I'll tell you what, it is rewarding as well, but also can be quite tiring at the same time. But I'm excited all the same, absolutely excited, and I just cannot get enough of this beautiful cathedral that's stood behind me. It's just beautiful in all its splendour. It's also quite big as well. I'm only capturing about a quarter of it, and it's just amazing what you discover with this place. Definitely need to pay a visit inside the cathedral. Should probably do that. I may do that in a bit actually. But join me back in a bit and I will see you at the back of the 54 as we make our way up to the next boundary stop. And then I'll also tell you what I'm going to end up doing as well. See you in a bit, guys. Welcome back, guys. You've just joined me at the back of the 54. We're making our way out of Chichester, and it just comes to show that it's amazing I looked around, I looked inside a few shops, and I did a short visit inside of the cathedral. I tell you what, it was absolutely beautiful what I found. And also, if you're wondering why I'm sort of talking up a bit, it's because I'm sat at the back of the bus and this engine is rattling. But as I said, I don't mind doing 50 minutes in Chichester because I was able to do stuff, but 50 minutes in the middle of nowhere is not my style. But join me back in a bit, because what I'm going to do is as I said, we're going to do the usual. So in the first video, what I've done was I showed you the boundary stops from outside the window, or I let the announcements tell you themselves where they are. And this time I get to show you from the window. See you in a bit, guys. Welcome back, guys, and you've just joined me on the stretch of the road where we're coming up to the next of the boundary stops in the Chichester Ticket Zone. It's actually the last one now, so I'm hoping it'll call there. Should do, marked as Chichester's boundary stop. Then we shall find out. Coming up to it, but I thought rather than come off at Butterfly Corner, I'll then show you on the outside. Salt Hill Road. Yeah, so I'm going to stay on. I'm just going to carry on into Petersfield. So it's Salt Hill Road. Yeah, I'm staying on until Petersfield. I'm just showing the boundaries. Yeah. One moment. I'm going to stay on the bus because what I wanted to do is just show the viewers at home where it is. I'm going to...
So where are you going to, mate?
Petersfield.
Oh, you are... Sorry. I've got the ticket for you. Alright.
Sorry about that. So there's Butterfly Corner. We're showing us Salt Hill Road. That's interesting. They need to call that Butterfly Corner. Anyway, join me back in a bit and I will see you in Petersfield. Welcome back, guys. You've just joined me in Petersfield, where I'm now going to wrap up the rest of this video, where I looked at all the boundary stops in the Chichester Ticket Zone. I decided to stay on the 54 and then come here because I didn't like the idea of waiting 50 minutes in the middle of nowhere for a bus. So I thought I'll stay on and come here. Unfortunately, I think it's going to happen because I've arrived into Petersfield and the next bus isn't until 1:45. Luckily, there are some things I can do around here in Petersfield, but other than that, not much. Well, thank you for joining me on Darren's Corner. Stay tuned for the next video, and remember, nothing's ever simple, but I will always be here for the thrill of it.